Hey everyone, my name's Andrew with Brews and Board Games, and I hope everybody is having a fantastic day. Today I'm going to be going over 5 reasons why I think you should, and 5 reasons why I think you should not back Mythic Games' latest campaign to launch on Kickstarter, Six Siege. Six Siege is a 2 to 4 player fast-paced skirmish game based on Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. So without further ado, I got my brew here. Why don't you grab yours? We'll switch up the angle and we will get right into it. All right, guys, let's just jump right into it, starting with the 5 reasons why I think you should not back this campaign. I figure we'll start off on the negative and then we'll end on a positive note. So in no particular order, number 1. In my opinion, Mythic Games has a small reputation of having some issues. Now, what do I mean by that? Some of their products, their campaigns, if not all of them, have been a little late. And I know that's normal for crowdfunding projects. Things happen, unexpected things, I get it. But let's just go through a few of the projects that they have crowdfunded before. And in no way, shape, or form, this is meant to be a bashing of Mythic Games. I actually like their games. I have Super Fantasy Brawl and Solomon Kane, both games that I really like. But I think it's good to look at some of these aspects. So we're not going to look at all the campaigns, but we are going to look at a few. So first up, Solomon Kane. Solomon Kane launched for to do crowdfunding to raise money on Kickstarter in June 2018. They estimated that the game was going to arrive July 2019. It began fulfillment March of 2021. You guys do the math. That's a few years. I don't know exactly what happened. I do have Solomon Kane, but I wasn't part of the campaign itself. I did not, pledge anything for the game, but that's quite a bit of time. We look at Reichbusters here. Reichbusters launched on November 20th, 2018. They estimated for November 2019. The shipping started April 2020. So that's still a significant delay. So that's about 5 months after they expected it. Again, that's kind of normal for Kickstarters, right? They always estimate something, but things happen. I get it. We're just looking at a history. Super Fantasy Brawl, as you can see on screen as well, launched June 25th, 2019. They estimated for March 2020. And then they had an October update that people were receiving pledges. And NA would start October 2020. So that's about 7 months after they expected people to get the game. And then finally, the last one that I want to talk about is Hell the Last Saga. This is one that I actually pledged for. So that launched in May 2020. The pledge manager is still open to this day. It launched in May 2020. They estimated it for this month, 2021. So it should have been, they estimated it for right now. They're now estimating it to arrive in November to December 2021 this year. I wouldn't be surprised if that gets pushed back. They're reworking a lot of the different things, adding more things. So that's cool. I get it. We're just taking a look at some of their previous campaigns to say, hey, if you pledge for Six Siege, you're probably not going to get it when they estimated it, which is June 2022. I would expect like 6 months after the estimation. Plus, on that note, most of all of these games, if not all of them, I mean, Solomon Kane, I know for sure, Super Fantasy Brawl, and Reichbusters, they all had some form of errata. When the games came out, they had to make changes, whether that was misspellings, stuff in the game that didn't make any sense. I reviewed Solomon Kane. Take a look at my review on the channel. There was some errata that just completely, it did not make any sort of sense at all. Still a great game, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, check out the review, but there was errata. So in all of these games, there seems to be some changes that they have to make. So is Six Siege going to be the same? So that's kind of what I mean about some issues, right? The campaigns are a little bit delayed. I'm not saying it's their fault, right? Some of them are probably the shipping services that they use, but also the errata. So I wouldn't expect Six Siege to come out exactly when they estimate it. I would probably estimate at least 6 months from now, and it might have some changes as well. So again, this isn't meant to bash Mythic Games. Running a company is hard. I get it. There's a lot involved, especially when you're dealing with translations, from French to English. I get it. So, and I like their games. I do. Like I said, Super Fantasy Brawl and Solomon Kane I have, and I pledged for Hell. I'm really looking forward to that. And it does seem like, on that note, to counteract this point that I'm making here, part of the reason why I think they're taking a lot longer with Hell is because I think they're trying to avoid that errata. I think they're trying to get it right. They're trying to make the corrections that they need to, which is good. I'm all for that. I have plenty of other games that I can play until that launches. I just think it was something to point out. So number 2, if we go back to the Six Siege game right here, there's nothing really special as far as stretch goals. They're not even really having stretch goals. They're having daily unlocks. So if we scroll down to look at, where are we here? Let's scroll down and let's find the daily unlocks. That's still the, okay. All right, so daily unlocks. So short campaign, they're not having any stretch goals. So if we actually look at what they are, we can see that the first one, where instead of the cardboard standee cameras, now we're going to have clear acrylic standees for the cameras. And then now I think these are the bulletproof cameras for day 2. Nothing really mind-blowing. And then the other ones, as you can see, they're pretty much just skins for the video game, as well as an alternate skin or mini. I'm trying to determine what exactly they mean by this. You can vote on an alternative sculpt. Now, I don't know if that just means, okay, if you vote on a certain character, are you going to have both sculpts in the box? Or are you just saying, hey, we want to see this sculpt of this character in the box? Either way, there's still only alternative sculpts. I mean, even if you are getting both, it's still just the same character, just with a different pose, sort of, right? And so if we look here, 6 more of these daily unlocks are just going to be skins, right? Whether they're for the video game or an alternate sculpt for the board game. I don't play the video game at all. I'm strictly board game. I have played video games in the past, but right now, for me personally, when I go to get either a daily unlock or a stretch goal for a board game, I kind of want it for the board game itself. Now, I know you can say, well, there is the alternative sculpts for the minis. I get it, but would you like to see something else besides just an alternative sculpt, or maybe an acrylic standee for a camera? It's just something to point out. Number 3, this is going to retail. If we look at the FAQ, and I believe it's this one right here. If you look at their FAQ, will Six Siege, the board game, go to retail? This says most likely yes. Now, I think this is a definite yes. For a few reasons. If you go to Mythic Games web store, most of all their campaigns that they've crowdfunded, you can find on there, and you can get the stretch goals as well. Solomon Kane's on there with the stretch goals. I got Super Fantasy Brawl on there, the Super Fan Pledge with all the stretch goals. So you can go to their web store. It's going to be a little bit of time after this delivers, but you are still going to be able to get all of this stuff. I know they're kind of saying, hey, pledge now because you're going to get a lot more for less. While that's true, you are still going to be able to pick up those stretch goals in their web store, if not retail, especially because Ubisoft is working with Mythic Games, right? Because Ubisoft owns this Six Siege stuff. So it seems to be that more video game companies are getting into the board game space. And to me, they want to get in because they want to see that trickle of money, right? So I would imagine they would push, if this is successful enough, to have this push to go to retail because they want to keep trickling in that money, right? So, and we see this with multiple companies, Bethesda, ZeniMax, now Ubisoft. So I think the video game companies are starting to get into this space because they want to see that money. So I would imagine this is definitely going to retail. Number 4, this global shipping crisis, trying to get a container, a ship to send them out to the actual backers. You guys have probably seen and heard about this, whether that's through the game company themselves putting out updates or some channel, some creators on YouTube talking about this whole mess. So it is a real mess. Multiple companies are putting out updates like, hey, it's a lot worse right now. There was COVID, right? And now we're kind of getting to the tail end of that, but not really in China, There's some problems with COVID in China. So everything's kind of a mess right now, and the prices are going up. So that being said, who knows what's going to happen when it comes time to actually deliver? What's going to be going on? Are the prices still going to be this high? This, along with Mythic Games, maybe taking a little bit longer. Who knows? If this stuff dies down by the time it gets to that point, June 2022, and if we're adding 6 months onto it, probably it's going to be settled down, but who knows? This could be the start of something else that we just don't know. So with that uncertainty, do you really want to pledge for a game, especially when you're kind of on the fence about it? It's just something to consider with all of this stuff going on. And number 5, the game might just be too fiddly. You're going to have to choose your loadouts. There's a lot of 3D elements here. Can you shoot over this table? I'm going to bust down this door. Oh, but can I shoot through here? There's going to be cameras, bulletproof cameras. The tokens, there may or may not be a guy there for the defender. Everybody has their own unique abilities. Are you leaning over? Okay, but my guy's special ability says, when I'm on this space, leaned over past this wall, my special ability means I can shoot you only if your guy has a certain armor value and you don't have this certain ability while I see this drone over here. It seems like there's going to be a lot of little things like that, and it might just be there might just be a little bit too much nuanced situations. You're going to have smoke grenades, people in the second floor above you, walls, destructible terrain, stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of little things like that. And I wonder if it's just going to be a little bit too much, especially if like the 3D terrain, while it looks cool, if you watch a playthrough or two, your hands are kind of bumping into that stuff a little bit too much. So just something to consider. There just might be a little bit too many fiddly rules. And especially if, like I mentioned earlier, with Mythic Games, they might have to put out some errata. So when you get the game, it might be even worse. Not worse, but they might need a little bit of changes to make it a little bit better. So again, it just might be a little bit too fiddly. So with that out of the way, let's get into the 5 reasons why I think you should back this game. Number 1, fast-paced gameplay. I love this kind of stuff, like using the timer. There's a timer in this game. You can choose a certain amount of time to give to each player for their activations. I like that sort of stuff. I have Project Elite, one of my favorite games, and in that game, you have 2 minutes to do all the stuff on your turn. That creates an element of chaos that can make the game a lot of fun. You got to make all of these decisions in a short amount of time, and that leaves you open for mistakes. So then your opponent can take advantage of that. But what that also does is it leaves them open and they make mistakes as well. So you can capitalize on your turn. And why I think that's fun is because you're not sitting there the entire time spending forever to make these decisions. Okay, should I go here to this corner? Because then if I'm on Overwatch, now they can shoot me. But no, I don't want to do that because then this guy might. You got to act fast. And that, like I said, that creates mistakes, that adds an element of chaos, which I just think is a lot of fun. I grew up with games like Command & Conquer and StarCraft, so I might just be a little bit biased because I like those kind of like, you got to do as much as you can in a short amount of time. And that's kind of what those games are like. And I like Project Elite, like I said. So I might just like this, you may not. But I really think this is going to be a lot of fun. And that's the main thing of the game. I think it's going to be fun. Number 2 is going to be the theme. Me personally, I haven't seen too many games like this. You know, the SWAT, like the Special Forces, Terrorists, CT Squad, you know, the Counter-Strike type of stuff like this. You know, there's like shooter games and stuff, like I was just mentioning Project Elite. But nothing like this squad-based skirmish stuff where you have 5 guys, they have 5 guys. You're the defender, you planted this bomb, and the attacker has to defuse this bomb, and you have to make tactical decisions like this. There's not many games out there, at least from what I've seen. And I like a lot of themes, I do. But I do like this theme. I think it's cool, and especially because we haven't seen it too many times. I think this is going to be really cool. I really like this theme. Who hasn't wanted to be like a SWAT person busting into a house or something like that? You know, it's just... it's really cool. I think it gives off like a Counter-Strike vibe, and I just think it's really gonna work, especially for a skirmish game. Number 3, it is visually stunning. Just looking at all of this stuff, I'm liking everything about this so far, at least the look. The boards look fantastic, and this is going to be a double-sided board as well. The minis look great. I am digging their poses, right? I love that each of the bases is colored, right? I love the 3D element as well. I am a huge fan of 3D terrain in my games. I made a Gloomhaven terrain set. If you guys want to check that out, please do. But for Gloomhaven, I made 3D terrain for like... Blood Rage. I'm trying to make the world tree, you know, out of some not styrofoam, but aluminum foil. I'm always trying to make this 3D terrain for games because I think it makes it pop a little bit more, and I like that. I'm a visual person, so I really love to see these windows, these destructible walls, the cameras all set up, and you can shoot behind the tables, you know, but you also have cover. Dude, this 3D stuff is right up my alley. It makes the game pop, and I think it looks beautiful. I'm really digging everything. The components, the other components seem really nice too. If we scroll down, let's get down here. Like the minis themselves, like I'm liking the player boards as well. I think it's cool. It fits into this theme a lot. Double-sided board, like I said, these 3D tokens, which is really cool. These plastic bases, that's a neat idea as well. I'm digging all of this stuff. Like, look at all this 3D stuff. I think look at all of this stuff. That's just cool. That is just cool. So I'm really liking it. I think it is a gorgeous game. I think it looks really cool. It's my kind of looking game. Now, number 4 is going to be the cost. If we take a look at some of the pledges here, we have the Fresh Recruit pledge of $70 US, Trooper pledge $200, and then we have the Smooth Operator pledge of $270. Now, the reason why I say the cost is because this Fresh Recruit pledge right here, $70, you're going to get most of everything. The biggest difference between this Trooper pledge is that you're going to get a lot of these expansions are just extra minis, just extra characters. So if you don't care about that, you have 20 operators in the core box. So in each scenario, you're only going to be able to bring 5, what are they called? I think operators. You're only going to be able to choose 5 operators, and then you can switch sides. So the replay value is already going to be high, especially if you have a double-sided board. So, and then plus, as different as the game can be every time, you can enter a different way. You can destroy a certain wall. You know, you can do things differently in each game, and especially when you have dice rolls. That's going to add an element of just luck, which I think is going to be add a high replay value to the game. So I say all that to say you don't really need all of the other characters. Sure. Is it going to be nice to have more options? Absolutely. But to pay $200, now you are also going to get the map packs, which I would say if you did go with the Fresh Recruit pledge, maybe throw another map pack in there too, because all of those map packs are going to be double-sided. So again, $70, it's not a crazy high price. I think that's a good price for all of these components that you're going to get, all of this 3D stuff. I think that's a good value. Now, I checked, and for the US, it's going to be $30 shipping. So altogether, we're talking about $100. So still, I think that's okay for all of the stuff and the high replay value that you're getting. I personally, I don't know about the other characters for $200. And one of the other differences, I mean, you can see that you can get some video game skins if you go in for the Trooper Pledge. Again, I'm not big into the video game, so that's not appealing to me. So I really don't need that. So me personally, I don't know about spending $200 just for some extra characters, especially when the replay value and there's going to be enough characters in the core box. So for me personally, this $70 for the core box is a pretty good deal. You can pretty much get all the gameplay. That's what I'm really trying to say. You can get all the whole game, everything as far as gameplay, you know, without the maps and extra characters, but you're going to know. It's not like you're going to be missing out on these expansions that are just going to change the game drastically, right? It's not like a Blood Rage where you're adding like the gods or something like that. You're basically just adding more of the same. So this $70 is going to get you everything that you want. And as far as the smooth operator pledge, I mean, you're going to have this is going to add the neoprene dice tray, an additional dice set. It's going to have that line of sight laser, but that line of sight laser, you can find at like Army Painter. It's cheap. That's no big deal. So as far as $270, probably not, for me, not the best value, but for that $70, I think that is going to be a good value. So not the most expensive. And last but not least, number 5, we have, so far, the reviews have been good. They sent out prototypes to some of these channels. As you can see here on the screen, there is Quackalope, King of Average, and Board Game Co. They all had prototype copies, and so far they are saying the game is really good. You can see Jesse gives it a 10 out of 10. King of Average says, some of the most fun I've had. It's pretty big. And then Alex gives it says, one of the best skirmish games I've ever played. So again, the reviews seem really good. Again, these are prototype copies. Things are subject to change, but it looks to be kind of further along as a prototype. And if that is the case, I think it looks really good. I did watch a little bit of the playthrough with Quackalope and Board Game Co., and it seemed to be a lot of fun. Again, this is just a prototype. Things are subject to change, but from what it looked like, it seemed to be a further along prototype, which is good. So if they're saying it's good, now again, I am taking everything that everybody says with a grain of salt, right? Who knows what's going on between the companies and the content creators? I'm not saying anything is. I just want to say, I'd have to play for myself. But so far, they seem to really enjoy the game. So I have high hopes. So with all that being said, what am I going to do? What do I think? Personally, I think I'm going to go for the Fresh Recruit Pledge. I think all these positives outweigh the negatives. Sure, I touched on some stuff that you might want to consider, like the Mythic Games stuff, but that's every company. Every company has delays and stuff like that. Some of that isn't even their fault, and I think they're even trying to make changes, like I mentioned with Hell, to when the game comes out, there doesn't need to be all of this errata. So I think they're trying to make the correct changes to do that. Global shipping prices, that's going to be every campaign going forward, and who knows, hopefully, I say every game going forward, I just mean games launching, delivering in the next few months probably. But this game is not going to launch for like another year and a half. So hopefully we don't have to worry about that then. Too fiddly, I'm not worried about that at all. I think I am going to really like this game. This seems to be right up my alley. I love the fast-paced stuff. I love this 3D element. I love moving the guys around, that tactical stuff, making decisions. Everybody is making mistakes. You're on crunch time. But my guy can shoot through these walls. Dice rolling, which I'm always a fan of. I think I'm really going to like this game. The positives are really outweighing the negatives. So again, I think I'm going to go with the Fresh Recruit Pledge, but I think I'm also going to add the 2 map packs. I think that's going to give you a lot of replayability. You have 20 operators in the box. I think that's going to be plenty. With 3 double-sided maps, I think your replay value is going to be off the charts. And then this stuff is going to go to retail. I'm pretty sure the character packs are going to go to retail as well. So eventually when I get the game and I like it enough, I'll be able to get more characters down the road. The laser pointer, like I said, you can pick that up from like Army Painter online. That's not that big of a deal. I don't need the dice tray. I don't need all this other fluff. I don't need the video game skins. So for me, $70 with the map packs, I think that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm feeling right now. So that's going to be it for me with the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you guys have any thoughts or comments, please, I would love to hear it down below. Please let me know. Are you interested in this game? Is there any other concerns that maybe I didn't touch on, or anything else maybe positive that I didn't touch on as well? I would love to hear it. So please let me know in the comments. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. And until I see you guys again next time, grab some brews, play some games, have a great day, and I'll see you guys later. All right, take care.